Hello, my name is Alejandro Ramirez Limas. I am the solutions architect for the solicitation management system sponsored by the Washington State Department of Commerce. In this video, we will show you how to edit an existing funding application. If you have not yet created any funding applications, or if you're coming to this as your first video, please watch how to create a funding application before going through this exercise. What you want to do from the home page is choose RFX Management. Once in the RFX Management page, choose the epsilon for the RFX that you're working on and select Go to RFX Report. As you will notice, there is a progress circle that goes through as this page is loading. Please allow that to complete. What you want to do now is you want to pay attention to the three options that you have: edit the draft in progress, commit draft to final version, or proceed to approval. The very first thing that you want to do is you want to edit the draft in progress. This will give you access to a draft that you can then commit to the final version. The final version is what you will see here. And then once you complete the draft, you can send it for approval. So go ahead and push edit draft in progress. This will give you a pop-up window with a fully functional word processor that you may use to edit your funding application. So go ahead and maximize the window. The very first thing that you will notice is that on the left side, there is a square that you may use for navigation. So go ahead and open that up. And now in the middle of the page, you will see that this is a fully functional word processor that you may use to edit the funding application. All the information that you entered during the creation process will be available here. So you have your RFX number, your title, your dates, anything and everything that you added. If you go farther down the document, you will see that the schedule was added, as well as the budget and all of the links that you added for the contract. For example, please notice that when we created this funding application, we chose that this was state instead of federal, or state and federal. And what this did is it not only added the state section here, but it also modified the document so that it fits the state requirements. If something happens and you need to change any of these aspects, please go through to steps 1 through and 3 under the edit application in order for you to be able to modify any of those aspects of the application. And I will show how this process works now. So go ahead and close this window and then go to Coordinator's Portal and go back to RFX Management. And now from here, choose the epsilon and select Edit RFX Base Details. So what we are going to do is we're going to change that this is not a state, but we're going to say that this is a federal funding application. And you will notice that those changes will be made. We're also going to change the budget to $250,000 instead of 200. What this will do is it will modify the document so that any sections pertaining to these two items will automatically update. Okay, and now once it's finished, you're going to go ahead and press Submit after step 3, and this will now update your document. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, this wheel is going in place because your document is being updated, so please allow it to finish. Once this is complete, go ahead and press Edit Draft in Progress. Now, you will notice here that this information has not updated. That is because you have not yet committed the draft to the final version. We're not going to do that until the very end. So for now, please ignore this section. So press Edit Draft in Progress. And now you will see here that this has been changed to state and federal. And if we scroll down to any sections related to this, those sections will have updated as well. And also the budget has updated. So as we scroll through the document, you will notice those changes. Putting a funding application together takes a lot of time and energy. And the purpose of the solicitation management system is to reduce the amount of time and effort that you have to put into putting a funding application together. So One of the items that we are going to be modifying is the purpose and background. As you see, the purpose and background has some yellow items on this particular block. This document has been created so that anything that needs to be reviewed or that you want to pay extra attention to has been highlighted in yellow. So for the purpose and background, we're going to take the purpose and background for this application that has been approved, and we're going to put it in this block. The same goes for objectives and scope of work, as well as minimum qualifications. So what we want to do now is we want to go through and we want to delete this block. And now we are going to paste the block that has been approved. Now, this word processor is very flexible. So I'm going to highlight the whole block and I'm going to tabulate. So I'm going to press the tab key on my keyboard in order to bring this into a section that I wanted. And I want this to be right underneath 1.1 in order to maximize the amount of space that is utilized on the document. Here, I see that this did not tabulate the same as the others. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight and push the Shift tab, and that brings it back to the section where I want it. You could also do the same thing and bring it forward or back. As I mentioned earlier, this is a fully functional word processor. After you finish updating sections 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3, you will notice that you now come to the funding. Previously, we changed the funding from 200 to 250,000, and as you can see, that change has been made here. If you need to make any other changes that are not related to the text, but are actually related to data, please go through steps 1 through and 3 of the funding application, as I showed in the beginning of the video, and make those changes there. Another item that I want to change is I want to move this back to conserve space. So I'm just going to grab the block and push it backwards. Now, anything else that you want to modify, please go through and change it unless it is highlighted in bold and you see a label on it. Anything that you see with a label on it should be modified from the application itself and not directly on the word processor. Because if you modify it here, the changes will not be retroactively effective and you will end up with discrepancies on the schedule or on the funding amount or on the scoring mechanisms. Continue to go through the application, and if you see anything that is highlighted in yellow, please pay attention to it. In this case, once you come to the definitions, you will notice that this is giving you an opportunity to add more definitions. We don't have any more to add, so we're just going to delete this block. And now we continue and we get to the schedule. If you do not need any physical documents, go ahead and delete this by highlighting the row, pressing the down arrow, and then delete this row. If this is accurate for when you are going to have your Q&A posted, go ahead and highlight this and then remove the color so that it is no longer yellow. As far as the pre-bid conferences, if you're going to have more than one pre-bid conference, go ahead and press the plus sign right in the corner here, and then add the information that you want. As you can see, this is tabulated in the middle of the page. So what we want to do is we want to open the ribbon to Classic Ribbon. We're going to go to View, and we're going to allow the ruler to show. I'm also going to get rid of this message here. And now what we can do from here is we can press the back arrow, and this will give us an opportunity to start from the beginning of the cell. So we're going to go ahead and copy this here. But I don't really want to paste the format. I just want to paste the information as it shows. So I'm going to tell it to paste text only. And now, as you can see here, this is a little bit to the left. I don't really like that too much, but I actually want to move this one. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this tabulation to indent it so that it's moved to the same place as the one below. Okay, so I'm more satisfied with this. Also, I'm not happy with the description of this being the same as the date. So I'm going to change this to pre-conference 1, and I'm going to do the same thing for this one, except I'm going to call it pre-conference 2. Okay. Now here, I'm going to take this information and I'm going to paste it because I'm going to use this data for the rest. So again, press the back arrow, Control V to paste, and I'm going to say that the next pre-conference will happen on the 10th, and it is going to be online. Okay. Now, as you continue to go through the edited document, you will continue to see items that are in yellow. So here, we're not going to be taking in any hard copies of this proposal, so we're just going to get rid of this whole block here. And as you can see, the dates that you enter in the beginning of the video or on the previous video are already listed here, so you don't need to make any changes to this. If you do need to change it, go back to edit the document, as I mentioned in the beginning, so that these dates will be updated for you in all of the places that they need to be updated. If you do the changes manually on the document, you will have to change them in multiple locations. So it's a lot easier if you simply change them on the app. Okay, now you will continue to go through this document and modify it in any way that it needs to be modified. So here, there's another reference to hard copies. So we're going to go ahead and remove this because we only want electronic proposals. Now, let's say, for example, that you did not want to have any information related to letter of submittal. So what you want to do is you want to remove this section here, for example. Now, the number system will automatically update, but then you will also want to remove the letter of submittal here, right? Because you do not want the letter of submittal, so this whole section becomes irrelevant. Now, let's say that you made a mistake and you didn't really mean to delete this. Well, all you really have to do here in order to go back is press this button here for undo, or as you see, you can press Control Z and it'll do the same. So press this button here and it will return the letter of submittal, and then press it again and you will have number 1 re-added here. Okay, so continue to go through the document. And here we have the list of deliverables. So now this list of the deliverables pertains to what you want the applicant to be delivering when they submit this funding application. So make this clear for them. So we're gonna go ahead and delete this block, and we're gonna add the list of deliverables that we have ready for this application. Okay, so we're gonna paste the deliverables here. For this deliverables list, we have a header for the deliverable, we have an item, we have a description, and we have a timeline when the deliverable is expected. When you add your deliverables, ensure that these are things that the applicants will be able to understand, that these are requirements that you are going to expect from them. So we're going to go through, review all the deliverables that we have included, and then move on to the next step. Once you are done entering the deliverables, you're going to come to the management proposal. Blocks 1 and 2 are standard from the template of this funding application. So unless you have something to modify on them, you may leave them as they are. Once you get to the experience of the proposer, please go ahead and add the information that you want to convey to the proposer that they must be able to provide and show that they have this particular experience. So for the purpose of this funding application, we already have the experience pre-copied. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this block, and I'm going to paste the experience that is expected. And then here, I'm going to tabulate in order to get this to be formatted in the way that I want it to be. So here, I want this to be a bit more tabulated towards the right, so it stands out more. And now I have all of the other aspects that are expected here, but I'm also going to give it some space just so that it makes it more clear for the applicant to be able to understand what is being expected of them. There we go. So now I'm happy with the way that looks. Next, we're going to be looking at related information. And unless you have any reason to change this, please leave it as it is. Otherwise, please go ahead and add the information as you see fit for your funding application. In regards to the references, if you are going to expect references, leave this block, simply remove the highlight, and then continue to go through the funding application to ensure that all the information that you're expecting is showing the way that you want it to show. As you may remember from the previous video, the technical proposal was set to 60% and the management proposal was set to 40%. So if you need to change this because the scoring mechanism changed after you had created the original steps, please go back to the steps 1 through 2 and 3 in order to make these changes. Once you get to the cost proposal, this will show you the standard way that the cost proposal is evaluated. If you have a different way of evaluating the cost proposal, please modify the step to address that. In this case, for us, it's going to be the same, so we're just going to remove the highlight. As you see here, the workers' right certification is set to 5%. This is because we made this adjustment when we were initially creating the RFP. Okay, and we're gonna go through and continue to review the application. Okay, one thing you might notice here is that this tells you that the scores from the written evaluation and the virtual presentation combined together will determine the apparent successful contractor. This was a selection during the RFP creation process. Once you get to the end, you're gonna see the exhibits. So if you need to add more exhibits, add them to the end here, and then ensure that you add them to the document. So here we're gonna go through and check that all of our exhibits are accurately represented. And also we are going to verify what is the link for the contract. Now we expect that the link will not be commerce.gov, but we expect that it will be something different. So ensure that the link that you're going to utilize for your funding application is accurate. This is done on step 2 of the funding application creation process. Okay, once you have completed your review of the document, go ahead and close it, and then we are going to commit changes to the draft. Please note that if you do not close this window, you will not be able to update the draft, okay? So one of the items that we want to do before we close this window is check to make sure that if you made any changes to the navigation, you update them. So press the update button, and this will go through and update your navigation. If you didn't make any changes, you don't have to do this step. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close this. And now, as I mentioned earlier, the changes have not taken effect. We're going to go ahead and press commit draft to final version. This will commit all the changes you just added. Okay, and now the commitment process is taking place, so please be a little patient. And now, as you can see, the document has updated. So now instead of just being state, it's state and federal. And if we go through the document itself, we'll be able to see the changes that were made. So if we click here on purpose and background, you will notice that your purpose and background has been updated. All of the updates that you have added are now in the system. And this concludes our video presentation for how to edit a draft and commit it to your final version.